kids across the city, it should be put on hold.
More needs to be done because it's a huge task ahead.
Government's efforts towards education for all.
Whether these schools are providing quality education or not.
And inadequacy of the RTE. I think fundamentally community can play a very promising role. However, I think our assumptions about who the community is and what the capacity of the community have to be challenged. We cannot just blankly and blindly assume that the community is always up to the mark for addressing issues of quality. Especially so because in South Asia, in several countries where nationalization of education has taken place, there was a disconnect between the community engagement with education and with what was seen as the sarkar or the government's takeover of education. That disconnect has led to a certain amount of inertia in the community. But we've seen on many occasions where there have been innovations of bringing the community back into the education system, that the community has assumed a very powerful role in taking charge of quality, but with some amount of support and capacity building. For example, in Pakistan, we had what are called the fellowship school systems. We have also now what are called school partnerships for school improvement. We have also, in the case of that very famous man, Greg Mortensen, the schools that have been set up north, both in Pakistan and in Afghanistan, in the remotest parts. That's where the community has come in a big way because there was nothing else. And community demand was for schools for girls particularly. Community took on many roles, not just as builders and constructors of the schools, but also to ensure that the teacher was there, that in fact the children were also in school on time, that they sometimes even participated in what should be taught inside the schools, what would be most relevant for children who were studying there. And in fellowship schools, of course, the community took charge of the entire financing of the education system, the management of the finances, the ensuring that the most appropriate teachers were actually selected and they were on the panels to select. They were